if this game ends up going the distance here, simply because... Welcome to Echo, ladies and gentlemen, for game number 1 of this potential best of 9. Spawning in the bottom right-hand position as the red Zerg player, representing Samsung Galaxy Khan. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Solar. His opponent, spawning in the top left-hand position as the blue Zerg player, the current hot seat king of the hill, representing ROOT Gaming, we have Hydra. Alright, so very, very competitive match here. Really looking forward to seeing which of these players is going to be able to come out on top. And we'll see what kind of strategies they have as well. I mean, at the end of the day, when you get to ZVZ, you often get some very, very aggressive games in kind of like a best of 7, best of 9 series. Each player will sort of... We tend to go through a phase of feeling each other out. And we then sort of pop into a phase where, well, the players kind of try and predict when the other is going to be cheesing first. And we have a little bit of sort of cheese-traded games towards the middle and maybe towards the middle end of a series. So I'm wondering which of these players are going to blink first and maybe go for an early pool against the other and what map they're going to be choosing it on. On Echo so far, though, both of these guys are going to be going for the hatchery first. Nothing too out of the ordinary there at all. And all very chilled out moving into the next phase of this game. We have the spawning pool coming down straight after that, so not taking the gas first. And it looks like we're more or less... Oh, hang on. Might have a bit of a... No, a little bit of a later spawning pool there. So spawning pool on 16 supply there from Sol. Just trying to squeeze out an extra drone. You can see, look, it's 15 versus 14. Or it's 15 versus 13 momentarily there. Just for a little while. And we actually have Solar taking his gas before Hydra does as well. Hydra currently have no gases inside his main base, so potential for that early Zergling speed, potential for that early harassment coming down and maybe picking off a couple of workers if Hydra isn't careful. That early attack, of course, doesn't have to translate into Zergling speed. We could be seeing fast layers, we could be going to all sorts of tech, so we'll keep an eye for which of those options Solar decides to choose a little bit later on. In the meantime, the pools are going to be completing. We have the queens popping out now as well. The overlords, of course, have long since done their high fives in the middle of the map, and they are now reaching a point where they're going to be able to scout the base of the other. They primarily want to be checking out the gases and the gas timings here. So Solar's going to be able to come in and spot that this gas has only just been taken, which is going to be very useful for him. He'll be able to click on that and see that the amount of gas mined, yep, isn't much at all. There you go, only mined 20 so far. In the meantime, Hydra has done much of the same. You can take a look here and you will have seen this gas geyser. Only one worker left in it after Zergling speed starts for Samsung Solar. So he could be going for residual Baleen Nest. More likely he's just going to be trying to macro up as much as he can. Both players up to about 25 drones now are at the 4 minute and 55 second mark of this game. Natural expansion starting to complete for both players. And starting to saturate even. And we've got a spine crawler going down, interestingly, for Hydra here. So he's expecting to be the defender. He has seen the gas and he's gone, hang on, your gas is a little bit early here. I just want to make sure I know what I'm going up against and really ensure that I'm completely protected against any sort of aggression. And we have the layer coming down now, interestingly, for Solar. So immediately after Zergling speed. Now, where is this Overlord? Did he actually spot the layer going down? He did not. So Solar waited for the Overlord to move out of the way and then went up to layer. He's also got a Roach Warren coming down as well, so it looks like he's going to get very, very aggressive with this. That Spine Crawler going up might be able to protect against any sort of Zergling damage or anything like that, but that's not going to be coming in. We're going to see something far, far more potent coming across the map from Solar in the next couple of minutes. We have a Roach Warren as well coming down now for Hydra too. So it's not like he's defenseless against this or anything like that, but he's going to have a much slower roach speed because he hasn't even had his lair begin yet. And he's got 16 Zerglings now on the way. What has he seen of Solar's base? Well, the answer's not a lot, to be perfectly honest. He hasn't even gone back into the natural since the hatchery was building. So he has no clue that the Roach Warren is complete right now. And third bases look like they're going to get taken by both players, but significantly earlier for ROOT Hydra, who's now had his for quite some time. Those initial Zerglings are now moving across the map, avoiding the middle by the looks of things in an attempt to avoid the vision of Overlords, but Solar does see this coming, and this initial aggression... Oh! A little bit of a hole there, unfortunately, and it looks like the Queens might be going down very soon indeed. Are we going to be able to get one? We will. In fact, the second Queen is going to go down as well. And there are Roaches out on the field, but a good number of Zerglings here. This potentially could be disastrous for Solar in game number 1. Pulling drones to help with this as well. Very, very tricky situation. The Zerglings are going to be pulling back, and it looks like he just wants to make sure the third gets cancelled. And that's a really nice move from Hydra, because his third base is about to complete. So if he can continuously deny this third, that would be great. But Solar has other ideas. He's finally got his Roaches out in large enough numbers that he's able to deny these Zerglings. Now, I lost 2 Queens, though, and that was pretty big. So now we see if Solar can do any damage on the counterattack. Work has killed 0, guys, just to give you a quick update there. So no economic damage was actually done by that attack. However, the Zerglings got in, killed 2 Queens. The number of larvae available just isn't quite as high for a while for Solar. And he's using all of them right now, and you can see... Off the back of that, even though no workers were killed, look at the worker discrepancy now, guys. It's 43 to 49 in Hydra's favor. Just that extra inject or two has been able to give Hydra the flexibility he deserves with his economy to sort of move that forward a little bit and squeeze that edge, even though no workers were killed with that attack. We now have Roach speed coming out as well for Hydra. We can see he's starting +1 as well. But +2 is already on the way for Solar, and he's got Roach speed complete. So Solar completely solid in defense here. There's nothing that Hydra can do now to follow up this attack with any more damage that could potentially cripple the economy of Solar or anything like that. We have a little bit more creep spread by the looks of things from Hydra's point of view, but of course creep benefiting both players at this point. And an Overseer is going to be coming in now to try and scout everything that's going on in Shea Solar. It will complete in time and go back to full health. There we go. And Hydra should be able to come in and do a bit of a scout shortly. Upgraded advantage still sitting firmly in Solar's favor here. This Overseer hasn't done much in its life so far. Hopefully it will be able to. We have a macro hatchery coming out from Solar inside his main base as well. He might be using that to look to push very soon. Upgrades are now equal with the +2 attack much, much faster for Solar. He's also got the +1 armor on its way as well. I would say that, though, is at about the same kind of speed, so no real advantage being taken there. A Baneling Nest coming out to support the attack by the looks of things from Solar as well. So we'll see what that brings. And, you know, sometimes we have Banelings really, really effective with Roach attacks, able to get in and do a lot of damage against those clumped up Roaches. But sometimes they can also just be really ineffective, hit 1 or 2 Roaches on the front, and because they're not doing any bonus damage or anything like that, well, they just end up being a waste of supply, effectively. You'd much rather have a much larger Roach army. So positioning is going to play a key role if Banelings end up being used here. It could also, of course, be a purely defensive measure. So Roach versus Roach is now the game. And Hydra's decided he's going to move out into the middle of the map. Solar with his Overseer is going to be able to spot that. Hydra's not moving out with a game-ending number of Roaches, to be honest. In fact, Solar's going to be able to very easily mop this up if Hydra only moves forward with that. So Solar's going to be feeling reasonably comfortable right now. The +1 armor is about to complete for both players. And, oh, very nice. Hydra gooping up, actually, the upgrades here, preventing that +2 attack from going down with only seconds to completion. That's really excellent there, and the +1 armor has gone down as well. Yes, he loses an Overseer for it, but a lot of that advantage that Solar had in terms of upgrades, okay, it's still there, has disappeared now because there's only really 20 in-game seconds where an upgrade is going to be much of an advantage. A bunch of Roaches now trying to burrow move into the main base, doing their best to be nice and sneaky off the back here, while the main army is posturing outside the third base location. So far, no major engagements coming down from either player. 3 Roaches survived to move inside the main base. Can he kill off any workers? It looks like at least 2 went down there, but only 2. But the burrowed Roaches are still alive. And that's really, really good and really, really important right now. Solar is... okay, there we go. He will be able to spot them. And he has seen that they are hiding on the edge of the base, but we have a potential main battle coming on here. Both of these guys' armies are now absolutely going toe-to-toe between the natural expansion and the third base location of Solar. And right now, they're trying to compete for the better concave. Solar's having difficulty forming a concave sort of in this area. He wants to be able to fall back and get Hydra into that choke point. Hydra's actually going for it right now, interestingly. Both sides on 2-1 upgrades. Supply is currently 182 to 175 supply. And it looks like Solar, with the defender's advantage and extra Zerglings sort of popping out here, will be able to fend off the attack for now. Now, the fourth base is nearly complete for Hydra as well. So, off the back of this, he is slowly trying to expand. Solar, on the other hand, hasn't got a fourth base on the field at all yet. He's only got the macro hatch that was inside the main base. And he's only producing units right now. We have Zerglings, Banelings, and more Roaches joining the army. So it looks like Solar's counterattack here. He wants to try and make this fatal. He does not want to be playing into a much, much later game. And this could play to his advantage because Hydra's just got his Hydralisk Den. And of course, once he gets his Hydra Den, there could be a period of time where it takes a while before he gets enough DPS from the Hydras in his army composition to be really ideal. So if Solar decides to go right the heck now, there might not be enough Hydras to compensate for the lack of DPS in the meantime in the army. He might have been saving Larva for the Hydras, for example. These are all ifs, and it's all speculation at this point, but with the Banelings as well joining this, Solar might be able to get into a half-decent position. We'll wait and see. Hydra is waiting for him and sees him coming. Here come the Banelings as well with the Roaches. We're going to have to see some great splits from Hydra here. The battle begins. Banelings are going down against the front lines. Not the best connections, but definitely doing a good amount of damage so far. Good micro from Solar as well, continuing to keep the concave here, even though Hydra, as a defensive player, has a pretty good concave himself, and it looks like with the help of the Banelings, Solar is ever going to be able to break through very, very slowly. It's 194 to 165 supply, but don't forget, in this position, Hydra's going to be able to resupply a little bit more quickly, but has Solar done too much damage? The fourth base is certainly going to go down. Hydra's going to have to regroup on creep over here. He's got Burrow to help these Roaches just gain health as much as they can. And now he's moving back. It's 185 to 200 supply. Look at how quickly the defender's advantage allows Hydra to resupply those Roaches. He's stutter stepping into Solar now, really trying to crush the attack. Doing quite a good job, but Solar has reinforcements of his own. A massive skirmish out in the middle of the map now. And Solar, with his reinforcements, looking like he might be able to start turning this into some sort of steamroll, because he has the superior concave over here on the left-hand side. Really, really nice positioning from the units there, and it just means his damage output was much higher for a couple of seconds in that engagement. He's up to 174 versus 150 supply right now. And he's managed to successfully stop the fourth base from going up. That was really the key there, because Solar has got a fourth hatchery right here. You can potentially use it just for Larva, for Roaches right now, and try and push. We have no Hydralisks for Hydra right now. Despite the fact that we were potentially counting down into some sort of later game Roach Hydra composition. He needs all the larvae he can get for Roaches, because he doesn't have time to get the Hydras up, because this army is just so scary from Solar right now. That's going to be the predicament of our Root gaming player. He has a better concave at the moment, and once again, it's this kind of area here that really prevents either side from getting a massively good concave, which is why you see so much posturing back and forth in these kind of positions. But Solar has decided, heck, I'm just going to move straight into it, make sure my Roaches are able to attack, and he's trying to move in for the kill against Hydra right now. The supplies are fairly even, 170 versus 160 at the moment in Solar's favor, but don't forget, Hydra's just able to resupply so quickly. Is he able to do it? He's slowly fighting back. But he's dropping in supply as well, and I think Solar, look at this, with the reinforcements constantly streaming in, might just about have the numbers here to break through with a small number of Roaches. Hydra continuing to stream reinforcements out. He's down to 108 supply now, and Solar still on 142. This is tricky, and Hydra's holding on by the skin of his teeth, but as the defensive player, you're more or less entitled to do that. He's also got better upgrades now. He's got the +2 armor completed too. And Solar is going to find himself repelled, but for much of that fight, his supply was simply bigger. And no, that's going to be it. GG. Hydra's had enough. He's down by 30 supply, and he knows that it's going to be too much going into the late game. So game number 1, guys, is won by Solar here. Congratulations to him.